We're here live with Joa Bernard. This is the first interview that we're going to do in English in my channel. But if you're an English speaker, check out the videos I have here. So I have a lot of videos. Some of them are in Spanish, some in French, but you're going to find a lot of stuff there you're going to like, I promise you. So today we have here Joa Bernard. We're going to talk a lot about travels. If traveling is your stuff, if you want to discover the world, if you want to go to Punta Cana and discover all the beautiful stuff we have out there, Joa Bernard is going to help you a lot with you. So first of all, thank you, Joa, for accepting our invitation. And can you talk to us a little bit about you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me. How is everyone? Well, I'm from Dominican Republic. For those who doesn't know this, we used to go to school together. I think also college at the beginning, right?
Yes, actually, we went to the same university. We were studying the same major degree. I remember.
Systems, yeah. But I changed myself to hotel management. So now, right now, I'm living in the United States since December because I got married. So I'm in the whole process of residency right now. To keep myself busy, I just launched my travel business, I must say, in a formal way, because I used to do it with my family and friends all the time, planning their trips. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I remember you've been doing it for quite a while. I remember that every time you find cheap tickets, you always were telling us, and I got to discover a lot of that. So how did this passion for traveling began?
I must say everything started in 2010 with my first trip abroad. I remember the only visa that I had back then was the Mexican visa from Mexico because of a business trip that I had before. So I remember that I planned a birthday trip with friends, and I had this very limited budget for this trip for 10 days. And I ended up taking all my free time investigating about the place, websites, finding deals. So after that, I can say that it has been now kind of my homework. I'm always checking where to go next, the best deals that I can find. And like I said, I keep helping my friends and family to book their trips too.
That's great. And talk me about your new project. I pack, you pack, I plan.
I plan, you pack. Okay, so I officially launched this website on February 15. Tomorrow it's going to be a month. So what I do is that I'm custom building itineraries for people. Whoever wants to travel, go somewhere, or plan. Can be a hotel, can be the whole destination, like activities, the flight, a cruise. So I take all the time that I have to plan that trip for you.
And tell me something, Joanna. Why would I hire you? Why I don't just go online and buy my own stuff? Why should I hire you pack? I plan.
I plan. You pack. Why? Okay, so most of people, I must say, does not have the time or find it very stressful to plan a trip and try to make the most of the destination or the trip they want to make. So let's say, I'm going to compare here. Let's say that you go to a travel agency, okay? So you sit down with this lady, this guy, and you say, I want to go to Miami. Let's pick an easy place. Okay, I want to go to Miami. I want to do this. I want to have a nice dinner in some restaurant. So they're going to plan the trip for you. Let's say right there, they're going to say, okay, the ticket will be this amount. You can go to, they can recommend you places, restaurants where you want to go. But they're going to give you what they have right there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When you hire me, I'm going to take my time to program alert, to do all the research I can do about this destination. And I'm going to try to let's not use the word try. I'm gonna give you exactly what you need and try to also save you money while I do that. I'm afraid that's the difference.
And I've seen that you have like many packages to Punta Cana. So is Punta Cana a special location, or what's your connection with Punta Cana?
Well, I used to live there for 6 years, the last 6 years before coming here, because I used to work there. So I have many friends still living there that have their own excursions companies, some boutique hotels. I also have people working for this big hotel branches. So it's a way for me to try to explode that. So, and the website that I guess we're going to mention after, you can find deals in Punta Cana. So taking advantage of that relationship that I have with those friends that I have there or companies that I know from there, it's a way to place DR in a good place to go in the Caribbean as a travel destination, a vacation destination.
Mm-hmm. And some people that are watching this video, they might have questions like, well, Punta Cana is beautiful, but I've heard crazy stories about Dominican Republic. So my question is Punta Cana a safe place to go for vacation?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I used to live there by myself. And I can say it's a very safe place. You know that you're always going to hear something. You can hear, not just in DR, you can hear anything about any country. And the only thing that I can recommend is that you must, before going to any place, including Dominican Republic, try to make a good research of where you're going to be, where you're going to go, and try to also not only read the bad reviews, because people tend to do that a lot, but try to find someone local, maybe I can say, to inform you better about what's going on in the area.
Mm-hmm. And let's say I'm a tourist, I go to Punta Cana, it's beautiful, but I want to get out of the resort and know the country by myself. Can I get by just speaking English in Dominican Republic?
Yes, yes. You can find, there are local experts in the area that can help you with that. Most of the taxis, you might think, I'm going to a Spanish-speaking country, and probably I won't find anyone who I can speak or express whatever I need. But I think 90% of the people in Punta Cana, because it's a touristic area, speaks English or defend themselves, even the taxis.
What about if I go out of the touristic area? Let's go, if I want to go to Santo Domingo, to the capital city. I want to know the old city. I want to go to Zona Colonial. Will people speak English out there? Can I get by?
Most people do, yes, you can find. But in that case, I will recommend to hire a tour in the area. So you can be sure that you're going to have a person that will be able to talk to you.
Okay, and talking about that, Dominican Republic tourist attractions, which would you consider a tourist trap in Dominican Republic? What attractions you don't recommend tourists to go?
Do not go.
Like tourist trap, like, hey, it's a trap. Don't do that. You should do this rather.
I don't know. I can say, because I can say I have done a little bit of everything there. But if you're a tourist, I definitely would recommend not going to what we call the barrios. Yeah, because sometimes you can find a tourist that wants to go to a place to listen bachata or or play domino with beer and with a group of guys. You know, like going very, very local. I would recommend that. I think.
Why not? Did you say Dominican Republic is a safe place to go?
It's safe. It's safe, but you can suddenly let's say you can make a friend that probably lives in an area that will not be very safe for you, and those are the cases where I definitely won't recommend to do that by yourself. You have to, how can I say, make sure that, yeah, you want to do local stuff. You probably want to take the most out of destination or DR if you're visiting an area, but avoid also those places.
Something that caught my attention is that in a lot of traveling forums, people repeat the same phrase: "Be aware of chapeadoras." What is a chapeadora, and why should a tourist be aware of it?
I think we have it's a famous word between us because of the artist exploding that word, but it happens. It kind of happened everywhere too.
But what is it? What is chapeadora?
The term of chapeadora is this girl, can also be a chapeador because can also be a guy, a male. It's the type of person that is trying to get money from you, that wants you to buy stuff while you're vacationing, or can happen too that they might want or make you think that they want a relationship with you.
So it's a gold digger.
Yeah.
So why should I be aware of that? Like me as a tourist, if I go to the country, why should I be aware of gold diggers? Are they gonna pretend that they want to be my girlfriend right away or something like that?
Well, if they really have the title of chapeadora or chapeador, I don't think it's gonna be something real, and you should probably run away from that because they tend to be very cute. They tend to be very body shape and hair and the makeup. So yeah, you can get trapped.
But it's not the same as prostitution, because prostitution is just like one thing kind of stuff. You pay for sex and that's it. But you're saying it's different, right?
It's kind of different. I will say it's different. Yeah.
Okay, so in Dominican Republic, now that we're talking about that beautiful country, there are a lot of stuff to do. You have mountains, you have rivers, you have beaches. Like if you go to a resort, can you just hire an excursion to do that, or do you recommend other way of exploring all this beautiful nature of the Dominican Republic?
Oh, there's a little bit of everything. Like our slogan says, DR has it all. We have areas winter, as Constanza, Jarabacoa. We have areas full of mountains. We have the most beautiful beaches in the Caribbean, I must say. If you're going to stay in an all-inclusive, I recommend you do the excursions, but also as an aside way to compare what the island offers. You can do it by yourself, or in another case, hire me to do the best deals. But to most of my customers, I recommend to try to go a little bit more local, like find more about the place, see what the country, the island offers in terms of tourism and areas where you can go. Doing that by yourself, like rent a car and take a map, because probably we don't have the best signs all over the country, but Google Map and Waze works very well. So
nice. So for those of you that don't know, I live in Canada, and a lot of friends of mine, specifically my friends from Quebec, they love to go to Punta Cana to get married. So let's say John and I want to get married in Dominican Republic, in Punta Cana, and I request your services. What would you recommend me, or what options do I have from your company, from your services?
Okay, well, it's going to depend of what you want. Right now, we are working just for weddings at the beach and also inside all-inclusives. It's very easy to get married in DR. There's some procedures that you will have to follow, but it's really very easy. I have a local company there with a wedding planner, with a certified wedding planner. So as soon as you have the idea or wanted to do your wedding in Dominican Republic, you just need to contact me and I'll work in the best option possible.
And continuing with that idea,
Mhm.
I have a friend that he went to Dominican Republic. He works with me, and he went to a wedding. A friend of his got married in Dominican Republic in Punta Cana, but they decided to get married during summertime. And he's from here, from Canada. Here,
Mhm.
uh, right now it's minus 20 degrees, so that's 20 Fahrenheit.
Uh-huh.
So it was too hot, too warm, too humid for
Yeah.
me. So if someone lives in a cold weather, they are not used to that warm weather. So what time of the year would you recommend that person to go there and and don't have that warm weather?
Yeah. Well, if you want to do a summer wedding, we still can do that, but we're gonna offer you the option to do it inside uh, a convention area, like a salon, right?
Mhm.
Probably we can do our cocktail at the beach if you want to see all these, to have the scenic of the beach. But the best months I will say is from September until November. Even.
And now that you've
Mhm,
mentioned September,
mhm,
there is a hurricane season out
mhm.
there. So what's a hurricane season? And I guess that wouldn't be a nice day to go out there.
Well, our hurricane season, the highest, it will be from May until November, but it tends to low when October, let's say no, let's say mid September, October. So it's kind of uh, uh it's Mother Nature. So
You have
anything can happen,
yeah.
but it tends to be less. There's a less probability that it happens during October and November.
hmm Okay,
Mhm.
so talking about other country, I'm passionate about Dominican Republic, but let's talk
Uh-huh.
about other destinations. So let's say I'm an avid traveler and I've done all the basic stuff. I've been to Paris, I've been to London,
Mhm.
I've been to all over the place in the States. What destination would you recommend me? Any a destination that is beautiful and it's
Mhm.
not mainstream. What would you recommend me?
You mean as, okay, if you have done all this touristic cities and all the popular stuff,
Mhm.
I will say it will depend of how simple you want to go, but still like having the fun part, right?
Very simple, fun, and not
And
mainstream.
okay, so right now, I've been working and I think I'm gonna write an article soon about it. People, it's planning a lot of road trips because they want to discover these small towns, what to do in those small towns, and like you said, have fun. Um, but I will say, um, road trips right now are a huge thing, and the island, going to an island that is not too famous, let's say not a top destination, could be a very fun way to vacation and have fun and relax and be away of everything
Mhm.
that is going
So
on right
if
now.
I live in the States,
Mhm,
let's say I live in the East Coast, what
mhm.
road trip would you recommend me to do?
If you live in the East Coast,
Yep.
United States,
Yeah. Mhm.
I will say, well, you know that taking the famous trip from New York to Miami is very famous. But yeah, but right now, I'm working in one from Washington, D.C. until New Orleans. So it's like taking the east part of the state and going to south. It's still southeast, but it's a good way to explore all those small towns around that area.
And talking about New Orleans, I have a
Mhm.
lot of friends that they've been there and they've been disappointed about New Orleans. What would you recommend? What attraction would you recommend? What should I do if I go to Louisiana to New Orleans?
Okay, well, I haven't been there yet. I have
Mhm.
a friend that went recently, and she was very excited with the food. The food is a thing that you must do there. It's southwestern flavors, Cajun, not. too many people like Cajun, but it's very good. And one of the main attractions that she loved, even that she was afraid, was the crocodile trip. There's a very long river that they have that it's very famous, and it's one of the main attractions that you should not miss when you're there. I know that most people only want to go when they have the famous Mardi Gras, but there's a lot of things to do when that is not happening.
Hey, we have a question that comes through our YouTube channel. It's Jose Colon. He wants me to ask you, talking about Dominican Republic, what about Pedernales? Is this a good place to go in Dominican Republic? What options of hotel and flights are there?
Oh, of course it is. Well, to get there, you have to fly to the city, to Santo Domingo, and you can take or a tour or rent a car to go to this area. There's a lot of hotels now in this area because they're trying to explode Bahía de las Águilas, which is still one of the virgin beaches that we have there and one of the most beautiful of the country. So there's a lot of options. I would recommend you to visit GoDominicanRepublic.com. In that website, you can find a lot of that area.
Nice. And well, we're talking about regions. We're talking about Dominican Republic. We talked about Punta Cana, Pedernales. We talked a little bit about states. So let's go a little bit further north. Let's talk about Canada. You have any recommendation for people going to Canada? Any city, any attraction that you'll recommend people to go to Canada?
Yeah, well, let me tell you that Montreal is one of my favorite cities.
It's mine as well. I totally understand you.
I've been in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City. I haven't been in your place, unfortunately. But yeah, there's a lot of things to do. If you like, as a traveler, you love art, this is a good place where to go. I'm in Montreal, talking about Montreal. Toronto, to me, has a little bit, it's more like the States because it's also the English, where the English part of the country starts, well, Ottawa. But I think every place there has a little bit of good attractions, a little bit of everything. Also, Quebec City, if you're the type of traveler that loves small towns and this magical experience of a small town, most in the winter, I would recommend you visit Quebec City. I have a friend that was in Vancouver 2 weeks ago, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I'm willing to explore. I still need to go to Alberta. I want to go to Alberta. I want to go to Vancouver too. And so, yeah, I would recommend all those main attractions. Also, I'll be publishing next week an article about the Northern Lights. You know that it's a huge thing for travelers to see this attraction.
And you can see them from here, from Canada.
Yeah, and most people does not know that. People think that they only can go to Alaska or Iceland to see them, but you also can see them in Canada.
Not too far away from my place, you can actually see. Actually, from the city I live, you don't have a very good look at them, but you can actually see them from here.
Nice.
You can see it, of course, you have a better view if you go a little bit north, but you can see it from here.
It's in my it's in my bucket list. So probably soon I'll be visiting you. Thank you.
Nice. So let's now move to Europe. What destination would you recommend in Europe?
In Europe, I must say everything. Everything. I haven't been in Europe, but I have a lot of friends there. And it's also on my list. I'm dying to go to Italy, Madrid, Austria. I have one of my sisters live in Switzerland. So I've seen all these pictures and, all the websites trying to promoting the area. So I think I would recommend everything from Europe. Depends on what you want to do, or what are you looking to to accomplish as a traveler. But I would recommend everything there.
Everything like Moldova, Latvia,
Oh well,
Armenia, Romania.
that's why I said, yeah, that's what I said. It's going to depend of where you're looking while you're traveling, because you probably just want to go to and see some of the history from the past, and go to Rome and go to Greece, but probably you want to see what happened during war, and then you go to those places. But yeah, it's going to depend of what you want to see, what you want to do, while you're traveling there.
What about you in particular? What would be the first country you would like to visit in Europe?
That will have to be Italy. I'm trying to go to Italy.
Why? Because of the history?
I'm sorry, what?
Because of history of Rome, old Rome, and all that monuments that you can find in Italy, right. Or why? What calls your attention of Italy?
Well, that's the main reason, but also the food. I'm a big pasta junkie, so yeah, that will be the place where I'm going to be 100% happy with trying, the real pasta. Even though you go to restaurants, Italian restaurants, and they have Italian families, I don't think it's the same because of the products and all the things you have in the country.
Okay, so moving up to our next continent, how about Africa? What recommendations do you have out there? I've seen beautiful pictures of beautiful beaches out there. What do you recommend in Africa?
In Africa, I would recommend Cape Town. And there's an area that I just discovered, I must say, and I wrote about it last week, and it's a resort area that I didn't know about that existed in Africa. And I was surprised because it kind of looked, I'm not going to say 100%, but it kind of looked like Punta Cana. And I was surprised with the prices too, because a flight, let's say from here, from United States, mostly from Detroit or New York, can take you there for less than $500.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah. I didn't know you were able to get flights that cheap from States to Africa. Interesting.
Yeah. That's another thing that sometimes we think that traveling to Europe or Africa or Asia can be very expensive. It can be, but also if you do all your research and really do your homework while you're trying to find a good deal, you can find $500 flights like that one that I find. So yeah, it was very surprising to me.
That's great. So let's talk about Middle East. Any recommendation in the Middle East?
Well, you know that Dubai and Abu Dhabi are huge right now. Yes, it's very expensive, as we all know. But also, if you do your homework, you can find very good deals going there too.
Is Dubai and Abu Dhabi safe places to go?
I've heard it is, but as I say, anything can happen anywhere you go. So,
but about like yourself, like in your case, being a woman, women rights are not the best in the Arabic countries. That's what we read in media. As a woman, will be safe to go to those places?
Taking the precautions the country demands, I'll say it is safe as always you do that. As always you follow the rules they have, and as long as you try to, whatever you do there, do it always following those rules, because like as I said, anything can happen.
Great. So let's move to Asia. What Asian countries would you recommend to visit?
Well, I have been in China, and I wrote an article about that because it was, I wouldn't say it was a bad experience. It kind of was at the beginning, and then I figured it out, and that I made that trip as a solo. It was a solo trip, And I'll invite everyone to read the article that I post about it. But at the end, I can say it was safe. It was very safe. And I would recommend Shanghai. I recommend Peking. I would recommend Japan. Japan is huge right now. But as I said, taking all the precautions you can, reading about the country very well. You have to document yourself very well before going there, so you have a good experience.
So if I'm in States right now and I want to travel to China, like what budget should I plan for?
I will say minimum will have to be at least $1,500.
Not including, for considering that it's China, that surprised me, and that's affordable.
Yeah, not including the ticket, of course.
So let's talk about the ticket. How much will the ticket cost?
You can find a ticket between the $800 from here, from the US, between the $800 and even $1,800. Can be $2K too. It's going to depend on the season. Yeah, it's going to depend on the season. I will say if you're planning to go to Asia, a good way to find a flight deal is checking where are the lowest season of the area, and also programming alerts to receive all those deals, and be flexible also with your vacation days.
Do they have direct flights from the United States to China?
You can find direct flights to Shanghai, to Beijing from Detroit, from here, also from Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
And there's a destination that's becoming popular lately. It's Singapore. Do you have anything to say about Singapore?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be posting as the city of the month next week, because it's getting huge. Not just Singapore, also Indonesia with all those islands. But Malaysia has been a boon lately in all the tourist and travel websites, and also with all the travel bloggers that are out there.
What about Australia and New Zealand? What recommendations do you have for people wishing to visit those countries?
Well, haven't been there yet, but one of my sisters spent there 3 months studying English, and she recommended not just, of course, going to Sydney, because this is where the main attractions are, but the best place or the best area that she recommended because of the beaches and all the attractions they have was Paradise Island. It's super beautiful. It's I think Australia, it's amazing. But yeah, I would recommend those places, and also Melbourne, which is very small, but also has a lot of attractions to do there.
Nice, great. And there is a huge competition going back to the Caribbean. There is a huge competition among Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Mexico.
Yeah,
those are like the biggest destination for people looking for beaches in nice weather. Aruba also, it's a huge competitor in that field. You have any favorite places out of those 5 I've mentioned?
I will say the islands too. Taking a cruise probably is the best way to explore all of them in one trip, because they are small islands, so let's say there's not much to do if you're looking to do a lot of stuff, but I will say the islands are also a hot spot in the Caribbean.
That's great. So our executive producer is telling us that we have no more time, but we want you to know your contact. How can I reach you on your social media, and how can I find your blog that you've mentioned before?
Okay, I must share 2 of the websites I have, blogbyjoa.com, and also on Instagram and Facebook. It's where I share all my travel experiences, where I have been and where people, close friends have been too. And iplanupack.com, which is my travel services website that has also the same name on Instagram and Facebook.
That's great. I've just written that on the YouTube chat. So if you're watching this video online or if you're watching the recording, you can go to the comment section and you're going to see both blogbyjoa.com and iplanupack.com. And what about Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? How can we find you in those social networks?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook and also Pinterest as Blog by Joa and as I Plan You Pack. I was going to say .com, but as I Plan You Pack and Blog by Joa.
Thank you very much, Joa.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Goodbye.